We don't want to get into this back and forth and pointing fingers on what we heard from the public. We responded. Now let's move on with the meeting. Thank you.
Point of information, Mr. Murphy. You talking about who running and what's happening. Who are you supporting, Mr. Neely? Now, you don't have to answer, but that's a proper point of information. Anybody else want to speak up?
You want me to respond?
It
Mr.
was
President.
a point of information. It's up to you.
Okay, I will. None of your business.
Is there anybody else who want to comment?
I just don't think we're going to get the best bang for our buck to stay here with only 5 of us and go through this meeting. And I believe Councilman Jerry Winfrey Carter said she was going to be here for 2 hours.
Mr. Murphy, you waste a lot of time on what you believe versus what I believe.
Point
of order, Mr. Murphy, did we not listen to you uninterrupted? Let me speak. You don't have the floor.
Point of information.
What's your point of information?
My opinion does not have nothing to do with your ideology of me wasting
That's
time.
not a question, is it? That's a statement. What is your question of point of information?
I just made my opinion as a council person, and you just responded by, I'm wasting time. That's your opinion, and as a president, you should not be reflecting your opinion on what you think about me. That's your personal opinion. Now, when you were sitting here talking, I not one time told you was wasting time. That's
Mr. Murphy, I'm going to give you
negative.
your first warning. That's not a point of information. That's a statement. That's your first warning.
I appeal your decision.
There's an appeal of the decision of the chair. Is there a second? There's an appeal of the decision of the chair. Is there a second? It looked like that appeal dies for a lack of a second. That wasn't a quick inquiry to the speaker.
I'm going to excuse myself from
We
this.
used to it. We used to that attendance of Pastor Gilbert being a major problem, and I want the Ethics and Accountability Board to hold these new council people who've been here for 3, 4, 5 months accountable, and I can't wait till we get to attendance. The business of the city of Flint is in disarray with these new council folks. Attendance is egregious. And Ms. Herkenroder, you up and out your seat too. So let me call that, the question you have to ask yourself on the form you voted for. Do you want to service this group first?
So
any additional anything?
In all due respect.
So now we ain't here for confusion.
In all due respect,
we go.
Eric Mays, I allowed you to speak.
You didn't allow me. I called a meeting. I set this up. Quit saying that. Go ahead and speak. But quit saying you allowed me. Hell, I'm the senior councilman. I know what the hell I'm doing. Go ahead.
But you keep on. But see, one thing about Councilman Murphy that I can handle, you can dish it, but you can't receive it. So you keep on putting out these accusations that I had something to do with some illegal literature. And then if I come back at you and I'm asking my colleagues, his enablers, that whether they in the public, whether they watching it, or whether they on this council, I don't know who you are, that is not true, and tell your colleague to quit making those accusations, because he done made those accusations about this council person too many times, not only me, a couple of these council persons.
Point of information. Mr. Murphy, you think I can't prove that it was literature that you and Herkenroder and others had mailed out on your behalf illegally? You don't think I can?
If you keep on putting out these accusations about Councilman Murphy, I'm going to come back and start hitting you with some things that I think about you that you ain't going to like, that I just keep in my head, and all I do is pray to the Lord that he heal you from whatever you got going on in your brain. So I'm saying, if you keep on making these false accusations against me, I'm telling my colleagues...
Point of information, Mr. Murphy. Is that a personal attack?
That ain't no personal attack. That's a promise.
My brain?
You
That's
heard
why
what
I
I said.
do it. Point of information, Mr. Murphy. You want me to start talking about your brain, your skin, or anything personal?
Here's the deal. I still have the floor. My time is not up. If this council president keep on making these accusations about something that is not true, I'm telling this public, I'm telling your enablers, I'm telling these colleagues on this floor, when he keep on making these accusations about something, I'm going to come back and I'm going to hit him with some accusations that I believe is true, that I don't want to stay behind this podium.
Point of order.
Point of information.
Point of order.
Why don't you do it now? Don't wait. What's your point of order, Ms. Burns?
Referring to Councilman Murphy's skin is a personal attack.
Ms. Burns, referring to my brain is a personal attack. Don't discriminate. And that's all I'm getting at. If folks want...
The next caller has been unmuted if they'd like to speak to council.
I would like to, first of all, commend Quincy Murphy for the work that he has been doing in the community for many years. Eric Mays is trying to spin it like a political move to try to shine him in a negative light. You know, everybody knows what Quincy has been doing, just like everybody knows what Eric Mays has been doing or not doing. Eric Mays think he's slicker than grease. The so-called town hall meeting on your birthday,
Point of
so you can
information.
get you some gifts.
What is your point of information?
Did I just hear Ms. Moore say that Eric Mays thinks he's slicker than grease, or is my ears deceiving me?
Thank you. Ms. Moore, you can proceed.
If I'm not deceiving you, your ears are not deceiving you. That's what I said, and that's what I meant. And as far as Councilman Beers is concerned, I mean, you getting paid. You'll sell out anybody for $1. And while you're getting paid, why don't you pay your bills? And you act like you're concerned about what the attorney's going to make during the investigative hearing. They trying to...
Point of information.
What is your point of information?
Madam Chair, do you think it's allowable for her to talk about my bills, my personal bills, my consumers? Is that a personal attack, or are you allowing it? Because when she finished, I want to see what you allow me to say. So are you on your job?
Mr. Mays, it is perfectly acceptable. We've heard people talk about where Santino lives. I've never heard you call a point of information then or a point of order.
Point of information, Madam Chair. So I'm hearing you say it's okay to talk about my personal bills, how much I pay for my drawers, how much I spend at the grocery store, whether my personal bills is paid. If that's what I'm hearing you say, and if so, it's okay with me. I got big boy drawers on.
Those drawers on, Mr. Mays, because you yourself...
And you keep your panties on.
Oh, I am, Mr. Mays. I've got my big girl panties on.
And you are doing nothing but trying to scheme and want to put that negative connotation of Quincy Murphy when you are the one in essence that's scheming. I mean, it's obvious, yeah. Don Pfeiffer paid you, Dennis Pfeiffer is paying you. Now you're trying to do any and everything that you can to get Councilman Griggs removed from his seat, but you're not staying on Russell Street. What about East Village? Talk about that. And what about you being behind the counter down there on DuPont and Pearson Road and doing any and everything? And that's why you don't want the liquor stores to be sanctioned and closed early, because you freaking them. Thank you.
But I do understand and know some things, Ms. Moore, and I'm here to tell you. I don't mind you talking about me personally. I just want the rules to be followed evenly, because I don't mind talking personally, but you can come on and exercise your democratic rights, but don't kind of threaten and say, my husband said don't say nothing about me. That ain't cool. That ain't fair.
First of all, I want to address Eric Mays again. Don't get it twisted. When I told you about what my husband said. It wasn't that he don't want you to call my name. He said for you to stop calling my name, and I'm saying it too, when you're engaging, dialoguing in the council meeting. I have no problem whatsoever, and neither does he, if you address me after I make my comments during your comment time. And that's what I was referring to, and I mean that. And you're just so disrespectful asking your colleague, do she have on her panties? I mean, that's total disrespect, and something needs to be done about that.
I mean, this is getting to be a little too much.
Dealing with the appointment of the person in the third ward.
I do have that information, Davina.
Point of order. Madam Chair, it don't bother me, but I'm just saying y'all need to cut all that germane and relevant out when
Go ahead,
folks do that.
Ms.
So,
Wilcox.
you know, you don't have to rule on my point of order. You can ignore it. You can say go ahead, but you're out of order. When I call a point of order, it should be a ruling on the record rather than ignore that black man. Go ahead. That's the rule. I'm getting tired of it.
I'm sorry, I thought you called a point of information.
Well, I'm so tired that you treat my point of orders different from Pfeiffer and Herkenroder and Worthen and anybody else. That's the rules.
I can answer you.
You interpreting me as whining and don't have nothing to do with the agenda, and I wish you move on with the meeting so we could get this done while you sitting up there just running, rambling.
Let me say this.
Let me say this.
In the Wizard of Oz, that's your first warning. One more warning, and I'm gonna have you removed by Mr. Metcalf. This ain't gonna happen under my watch. So keep on. That's your first warning. I won't give you another one. I'll ask you to be removed. That's how I'm going to play this game with you.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Anybody else want to speak on this appeal before I do the closing comments and call for the vote on the appeal? Anybody else?
Yes,
Mr. Chair.
Mr. President.
Oh,
I'll yield to Ms. Winfrey Carter.
You ain't even been called on to have the floor yet the year. Ms. Winfrey Carter, you got the floor.
And here we go again, voting on something that we done already voted on before. This is ridiculous. This is a waste of time. And y'all talking about y'all want to get something done and why we ain't getting nothing done. Well, look at yourself in the mirror. This why we ain't getting nothing done. Because y'all deciding to make these
Point of
frivolous-
information. Mr. Murphy, didn't y'all spend 3-4 hours on this same motion earlier today?
We've been spending 3 or 4 hours even before we got elected watching you tear this city apart. So
Point of order, Mr. Murphy. Is that factual? And if not, then ain't you being a certain way toward me? Is that factual?
Is it factual that you think that I did illegal signs or somebody did my campaign that you don't have no facts on? All we need to do is a motion on the floor to censor him. We could either vote it up or vote it down and be done with it and move on. It don't make no sense for us to be up in here all night with this. We still ain't even went into executive session. And then here we go again with this. And I already know those particular ones that don't like what I'm saying. I'm okay with that. I'm okay. It don't take no rocket scientist for Councilman Murphy to know that I don't care what I do, whether it's right or wrong. Certain people ain't gonna support when I'm coming up here and I'm speaking on what I think is right to move this city forward. I don't care.
Point of order.
He's not germane to the subject.
I'm going to be Jermaine Tito.
Can you rule
Jackie
on the
Mott.
point of order?
Mr. Mays, please stay germane to the subject, and thank you.
I'm going to stay Jermaine, Marlon, Jackie, Tito, and whatever. I know politicians. Mr. Murphy didn't vote for me to get in this leadership.
Point of order.
What's your point of order, sir?
Who I voted for ain't got nothing to do with what we talking about. He's not germane to the subject.
Okay, you making a statement, you are out of order for taking the floor and making a statement.
Point, Council President, Eric Mays is talking about.
President Mays, Councilman Mays, Eric is fine.
He is talking about me voting for him, and that is not on what this special order is for. This special order is for this marijuana, and who voted for him is not germane to the subject. And how is I'm out of order because I'm calling a point of order on Councilman Mays talking about who I voted for. That is not germane to the subject.
He is addressing your comments that you made on this subject, so therefore, he is not out of order.
I appeal the ruling of the chair.
There's been a
Who I voted for has nothing to do with this special order right here, and he's not germane to the subject matter. And I wanted to put that on the record. He was not germane to this subject matter. And one thing for two and two things for certain, this one councilman person over here in the third ward can handle my own, and I ain't worried about what he think and how he wants to check me. That is not germane to the subject matter, and that's why I thank you, Councilman Ali, for appealing the chair's decision, because we need to move this meeting forward and stay germane to the thing. But he just feel obligated that he think he could just talk about who he go check like you checking. You ain't checking me.
Point of information.
What's your point?
Mr. Murphy, do you feel checked?
He can dish it, but he can't receive it. And I'm done.
Thank you, Mr. Murphy. Is there anyone else wishing to speak on the first round?
So, Mr. Murphy, you gonna fool around and you gonna get your second warning and be removed. You want to continue to make me understand your point of order? Go ahead.
You are making threats.
No, I'm making a promise under the disorderly conduct section. You can call it threats. You can use whatever adjective you want, but I'm gonna conduct a meeting. I disagree with you. And so that ain't a point of order. I'm telling you how I'm gonna run a meeting. It's a promise. I'll wait till you get coached from Miss Liddell Lewis. Y'all barking up the wrong tree with this chairman and president. Is it something else you want?
Are you giving me the floor?
Yeah, if you want
okay,
to,
well,
go ahead.
barking up the tree don't have nothing to do with the agenda item. So I don't know what your interpretation of barking up the tree you talking about. But to me, you insinuating threats to me because you trying to trigger me to get me put out the meeting because you don't like the fact that I'm responding to you in a way you don't like it.
Yeah, well, you'll see if I'm trying to get you out or keep you in. You keep listening to whatever y'all talking about there and keep doing stuff, you will be gone. The first warning has been given. It wasn't appealed in a timely manner. The next one, you'll be gone.